Let me know when to start. All right, everybody, hi. Welcome to the Seniors Hormone Health Series, part number 1. And it is going to be on cortisol, the stress hormone. So it's great to be back after 2 years. See you guys again. And I'm sure it's, since I'm talking about stress, I think it's fitting, because we've probably have more stress over the past 2 years than we've had in a long time. And when we think of hormones, we usually think of the reproductive ones, and we don't think of all the other ones that actually talk and affect those hormones. And you're going to learn a lot about that today. And I want to shed some light on that for you, because stress affects us, I think, more than what we think. So I want to talk a little bit about me first. I grew up in Kingsville, and I became a certified general machinist, and I worked at North Star Aerospace for 19 years. And I'd suffered from hormone imbalances since my early teens, and that went along with other gut health symptoms, and I was diagnosed with PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome. And even though I led a healthy lifestyle, and I would strive for health, trying to get control over that, and it didn't help me. And it wasn't until I started to have chronic heartburn during a very stressful time in my life, and that's when I thought, what I'm doing is not working, I have to change gears. And I took the holistic natural approach, and that changed my view of what wellness was, what I had learned to believe what it was about. And after years of supporting my body and not trying to just lose weight and look fit and that, it's when I finally saw results. And I knew that I wanted to help others overcome their health issues, and because I knew I wasn't alone. And then that propelled me to enroll in the Canadian School of Natural Nutrition. And that's when I learned the whole body approach and how the body really works, and why we have so many health issues that stem from a hormone imbalance. And that's when I retired from the trade and became a registered holistic nutritionist. So I have been there. So have you ever asked, why is this happening to me? And we all have an expectation of how our body should function. And unfortunately, our dreams and goals don't include gas, bloating, weight gain, reproductive issues, brain fog, that heartburn. I spoke about thyroid issues. All the list is, I could stand here forever and talk about things that we're plagued with every day. And the issue, and this is what happened to me, I'd learned to just deal with those problems and thought they were normal. I was actually told that they were normal. So today I'm going to give you a short overview, the Coles notes on how hormones work, and you'll be able to see the connection in the body. And it's important to understand that no matter what health issue you have, hormones are involved in some way. And it's always going to be more than one hormone, and that's out of whack. And you're going to learn today why. So what are hormones? They're chemical messengers that help regulate systems in the body and our bodily functions. And there's certain receptors, and these receptors can get turned on and off, and then they're not getting the message from these different hormones. And we wouldn't be who we are without them. So let's talk quickly about all the players involved in the body that might be affecting how you feel, and I think things are going to fall into place for you. So the adrenal hormones, that's what we're going to talk about today, because that's where cortisol is made. And then the thyroid hormones, you've heard of those, reproductive hormones, digestive hormones. So your digestion can actually get signals for your appetite, shuts them on or off. And they need certain signals to work properly. And then the gut, the liver, that's part of the digestive system, the pancreas, where insulin is made, the pineal gland, and the hypothalamus, the brain. So you're seeing the whole body systems there. And these players are involved in no matter what issue you have, low or high thyroid, estrogen-related conditions like fibroids, endometriosis, ovarian cysts, like what I had, PMS symptoms that have just been deemed as normal. That is a big sign that your hormones are out of whack, even a little bit. So, and then menstrual issues. Then there's the diabetes, so insulin, the hormone insulin, weight issues, and any conditions associated with these. And they even play a role for digestive and intestinal issues. So allergies, food sensitivities, autoimmunity. We'll get a little bit into that today as well. So working to balance them all is going to make the biggest difference. Like I said, you can't just focus on one thing. So the adrenals, these are located on top of your kidneys, and we have two of them. They protect us from harm, and they're part of the fight or flight response, our nervous system response to stress. But the problem is our adrenals can't determine what kind of stress it is, physical, psychological, or emotional. Even digestive stress. When you digest something, it's actually stressing your body out in a way. So that's where the problem begins. So I'll talk about the fight or flight response here. It's designed for physical threats, really, and protect us from danger. But the way we live today, we have more issues than years before. You have media, social media, you have memories, you have 24-hour news reels. Like, we can't escape it, and it's hard to avoid it. And adrenaline works with cortisol. Adrenaline gets sparked first, gets you running, gets your blood pumping, and then cortisol takes over. And it's to increase the body's ability for immediate strength and energy. And it causes your blood vessels to contract, it increases your heart rate, and tells your brain to put out more cortisol. And the purpose is so that you can fight or run from the danger. So being chased by a bear is an example. What is the problem with that stress response? Our bodies don't know the difference between the two. Running from a bear, yelled at a boss, being stuck in traffic. So as a result, we secrete excess cortisol and adrenaline way too much, and our bodies aren't designed to do this. It's supposed to do it and then recover, and in the short term. So chronic use of this response is where our threshold gets put higher, and our body can't recover. And it can cause lots of problems in the body, including digestive and intestinal issues, because when you are stressed, your blood's getting pumped to those muscles instead of your digestive muscles. So your food's just sitting there and it's not digesting, which is good if you're running from a bear and you actually don't want to get a stomach ache. So, and our nervous systems cannot be in one state can only be in one state at a time. So it's either in fight or flight or rest and digest. So the more that we can be in that rest and digest mode, that's when your body is going to recover from everything. Cells can be made, detoxed out, hormones can be made, and things like that. So there's tons of things going on. And cortisol, the stress hormone, is it our friend or foe? So it is the key adrenaline hormone. Everything hinges on how that is, whether it's shut on or off. And without it, we wouldn't be awake, because you have a natural curve to your daily cycle. Cortisol is supposed to be highest right before you wake up. It's what's getting you out of bed, it's what's waking you up, and then as the day goes on, it's supposed to taper off. But if we have those spikes during our day, that's going to throw it off later. So if you find yourself waking up at 2 a.m., that's a sure sign your cortisol's too high too early, because it didn't have that recovery during the day. And it has been linked to so many different health issues. So some of the signs of excess cortisol are brain fog, lack of focus, mood swings, depression and anxiety. Low thyroid function, that's really high on the disruption around this area especially. And dysglycemia, that is your blood sugar swinging up or down too much. It's not necessarily diabetes, but it's where you're kind of addicted to sugar and you're getting that energy, that false energy from sugar. And morning and mid-afternoon fatigue and just general overall fatigue. Sleep disruption, like I mentioned, can't get to sleep, or you're waking up in the middle of the night unable to fall back asleep. And then, of course, reproductive issues. Also, digestive and intestinal issues, backaches and headaches. You got weight gain, especially around the middle, low libido, possible low testosterone, progesterone and excess estrogen, poor immune function, and your cravings for salt and sweet and salty foods. And your adrenals actually need cortisol or need sodium in the process. So that's why you would be craving salt if your stress response is, if you don't have that reserve. And stress and high cortisol is the #1 reasons why hormones go astray, because the adrenals rule the roost of that fight or flight response. And I'll get into that in a little bit. So the adrenals can convert one hormone to another. And they also have a major effect on the pituitary, the master hormone gland in the brain. So reducing stress and repairing adrenal gland function may seem like the quickest answer, but it's not that easy because there's so many different players, like I mentioned. And stress has a direct effect on the hypothalamus in the brain. So the HPA axis, this is what our body goes through when we perceive a threat or a stress. And this is where that cortisol key will be. The hypothalamus releases hormones, different hormones, to tell the pituitary to release other hormones, and those hormones signal the adrenals, calling on that cortisol level, and then the thyroid and reproductive organs as well. So it's uniquely connected to all the hormones. And the adrenals have the unique relationship with the hypothalamus is that they can control the cortisol production, and if it's shut down at the end of the day or after that fight or flight response. And then the message gets sent back up to the pituitary and then back up to the hypothalamus. So that's why everything stems from the cortisol response. And it means stress can affect how your hormones function by how the hypothalamus functions. So there's more things going on than you think. And the pineal gland and melatonin, which helps you fall asleep, are also affected by cortisol and stress. So now the thyroid. This is the gland in our throat, and it produces 2 hormones, thyroxine 1 and triiodothyronine, T3. Now you know why they have the little abbreviations. And it regulates metabolism, temperature in the body, your breathing, your heart rate, and the central nervous system, that fight or flight, body weight, muscle strength, menstrual cycles, body temperature, and cortisol or cholesterol levels, which is also a hormone, cholesterol. We're going to be talking about that next month. So signs of low thyroid function are fatigue, headaches, increased sensitivity to cold, constipation, so there's that digestive issues, dry skin and hair, thinning hair, weight gain, puffy face and hoarseness, muscle weakness, elevated cholesterol or blood cholesterol levels, muscle and joint aches and stiffness, heavier than normal regular menstrual periods, a slower heart rate, depression, and poor cognitive function. So your reproductive hormones. You're going to learn why it's not just for the young, you need them throughout your entire life. So estrogen is the key female hormone for fertility, but it has many other roles for men and women, such as bone making, brain function, and gut health. Progesterone is the key female hormone for fertility, but has other roles for men and women, such as bone making, brain health, blood clotting, sleeping, thyroid function, and gut health. Then there's testosterone. It's the key male reproductive hormone, and it's also beneficial for men and women to maintain muscle mass, libido, bone density, and gut health. So this is where it gets kind of tricky with your hormone signaling. And all three of these have many roles in the body, and they can affect other hormone systems. So progesterone is a precursor to testosterone. So to make testosterone, you need progesterone. And cortisol is made from cholesterol. So stress causes testosterone to convert to estrogen, and the adrenals can convert progesterone to cortisol. So they're all taking signals from each other, and they need those building blocks. And the more progesterone, or when your adrenals aren't making enough cortisol, it can steal from your progesterone levels. And then you're lacking in the progesterone. Then you don't have enough to make testosterone. And then that's going to affect your cholesterol levels. That's why your doctor tests your cholesterol levels, because that's kind of a sign if you're stressed or not. And so the more progesterone is needed when you're stressed to compensate for the others, which means more cholesterol will be called upon. Now the digestive and intestinal. So your liver is the powerhouse of your body, and it's the key organ to remove toxins from the body, including excess hormones like estrogen and cortisol. And we can get extra estrogen from things like our drinking water and too much plastics in our lives. So if your liver's not functioning properly, it's not going to be able to get rid of them, process them. And it also makes cholesterol. That's where it stems. And you need that to make progesterone, estrogen, testosterone, and cortisol. And it also detoxes out those chemical disruptors like I just mentioned. And it helps convert your thyroid hormones to T4 and T3, the active form needed for proper thyroid function. So your liver has a big job to do. Now, blood sugar is regulated by the hormone insulin, and it has a codependent relationship on cortisol. So if one goes up, so does the other. And good bacteria in the intestines play a regulatory role for reproductive hormones, thyroid hormones, and cortisol. Stress and cortisol affect the quality and quantity of good gut bacteria and encourages the growth of bad bacteria. So when I mentioned before how when you're stressed, you're not digesting. So your food is just sitting there, fermenting, feeding that bad bacteria. And then that's going to produce toxins your liver has to deal with as well. So that's why getting in that rest and digest mode just before and after you eat is crucial for good digestion. And good bacteria help the liver with the removal of the excess hormones from the body, because if they don't get removed properly, they're going to recirculate, and that's where your levels start building. So what can you do about this? First, understand the relationship, interrelationship of the hormones. So here's a little recap. The adrenals and excess cortisol interfere with your reproductive hormones. It depresses your thyroid function and causes issues with hormones like insulin in the digestive system. Thyroid hormones can interfere with your digestive function, intestinal function, and your reproductive function. And your reproductive hormones, when they're out of balance, interfere with your thyroid and your adrenal function. So that's why you have to work on all of them. You can't just do one. And food and lifestyle management is the easiest way, because you have to eat food every day anyway. So the solution. I can't be a nutritionist and not talk about food, but today I wanted to focus on more of the fundamentals on what you can do mentally, since it's part of that HPA axis. So during times of high stress, it's best to support the body with the nutrients it needs, even when you're not stressed, so you have that reserve, and especially in the ones that get depleted with higher stress levels. And B vitamins are really good. They are found in dark leafy greens like spinach, kale, arugula, nuts and seeds, beans and legumes. Omega-3 fatty acids, they help lower inflammation. So when you have more inflammation in your body, that's a stress on your body too. So that's found in fatty fish like salmon, halibut, tuna, nuts and seeds. Magnesium is found in dark leafy greens, nuts and seeds, dark chocolate, beans and legumes, fatty fish like salmon and halibut. So as you can see, a lot of these foods overlap each other. And it's not your typical go-to snack food or we usually eat on a regular basis. And like I said, sodium supports the adrenals, so a good quality salt like Celtic sea salt or pink Himalayan salt are best. So mindfulness, this is something that should be practiced as much as possible. And it's living in the moment. And it helps to lower our stress levels. And because most of our stress is a product of worrying about the future or the past, things that we can't control. And focusing on the present will help you prevent worrying. And it also provides an opportunity to see things in a new perspective, and you'll take things for granted less. Benefits of mindfulness, there's physical benefits. It lowers our heart rate and our blood pressure. So there's that thyroid, and reduces chronic pain. It improves our sleep and can improve intestinal issues. Then the mental health aspect, it can help with depression, substance abuse, eating disorders, relationship conflicts, anxiety, obsessive compulsive disorders. And it is believed that mindfulness is helping people to accept their experience, including painful emotions, rather than react to them in aversion or avoidance. So ways to practice mindfulness. To improve the how you perform, don't think about it. The best answer is just let it go. So if you can keep remembering about that and don't worry about what other people think, because thinking too hard about what you do causes you to do worse. And stop worrying about the future. So working in the present and experiencing life in the now. I'm going to give you a little tool to help you start doing that, and learn to savor the moment. And to make the most of time is to lose track of it. In other words, being so engrossed in a task that you're totally absorbed. This is known as creating flow. You know, when you look up and it's like, wow, time flew, you were in that flow. And you can't force it like sleep, but you can set the stage for it to occur. So if you set goals that are challenging but not attainable, and then that's going to give you a purpose and drive you to keep going, and then you're firing on all cylinders. But there needs to be immediate feedback, so you need to know that you're on the right path, and then you can make corrections as you go. And if something is bothering you, move towards it, don't avoid it. And avoiding the pain only makes it worse. We have primary emotions and secondary ones, and you stress about the bad feelings, and you have to fight trying to have them, which creates more stress. So you're always dwelling on them. And instead, acknowledge the feelings and realize that they are normal, and it's a natural process, and then it will reduce the effect it has. And know that you don't know. Have you ever been lost in your thoughts and you can't remember what just happened in the present? That is known as mindlessness. So it's the complete opposite. And it's because once we think we know something, we stop paying attention, and kind of like on our drive home. So that 19 years of my drive to Tecumseh, I could do it in my sleep, I could do it in the fog, because I just knew, and it was a habit. So we should start looking at things with fresh eyes, and you got to kind of look around and look for these things. And try it the next time you leave your house, and look at everything around you, and treat it like a new adventure. So here is my little functional way of helping you trick your body into rest and digest and out of fight or flight mode, and you'll be able to take this home with you. Deep breathing exercises. There's many of them out there. My favorite is the one we're going to do today, and you can do this anytime you feel anxious or stressed. And it's great for getting back to sleep, or in the middle of the night, if you can't, or just before you go to bed, sorry. And it's, like I mentioned, stress does a number on our digestive system, so doing this just before you eat is really good. But first, I want to test to see how you guys are actually breathing. So we're going to do a little test here. I'd like you to put one hand on your chest and one on your belly, and we're going to take a deep breath in all together on the count of 3, and I want you to pay attention to what hand moves more, okay? So 1, 2, 3. All right, what hand moved more, guys? Your stomach or your chest? Stomach? Everybody's stomach move more? You guys must be in rest and digest mode. Because when we're stressed, we'll breathe with our chest. And then that's why you have your muscle and your shoulder, neck tense pain, because you're keeping everything held in. So here is the way to get out of that rest and digest mode if you find, or get into the rest and digest, out of the fight or flight if you find yourself in trouble. And it's called box breathing. And what you'll want to remember is the count of 4. So you'll do 4 counts inhaled, hold for 4 counts, 4 counts exhaled, and then hold for 4 counts, and do it 3 or 10 times, whatever you need. So if you guys want to do that now, you want to do a round of 3, just to get you used to doing it. All right, you don't have to do you know where you're breathing out of now. So, all right, let's do it. 1, 2, 3. Inhale, hold, exhale, hold. Inhale, hold. It's kind of hard to hold sometimes. Exhale, hold. Inhale, hold, exhale, hold. So just think of box breathing, you'll know, easy way to remember it. And I've done it so many times in the middle of the night if I wake up, or if I can't go to sleep in the first place. And that gets you focused in the moment. You're focusing on your breath, you're focusing on this, you're not worried about tomorrow or whatever issue you have. So that is one of the forms of mindfulness. So if you want to Google mindfulness exercises, there's tons of them out there. And I think that's all I have for today. And I just want to introduce my 12-week online program. I just started this up, Hormones in Harmony, a functional approach for women. It's not necessarily just for women, and it will get you on a daily basis supporting all those things, so you don't even have to think about it, just like your healthy habit of brushing your teeth. And then you don't have to go on a diet, you don't have to do a cleanse, and you're giving your body the things it needs, and supporting all those players I spoke about, because our bodies are complex. Our hormones and neurotransmitters, enzymes, the cells, there's so many things going on in our body, and the more we can support those processes, the healthier we will be. And if you want more information on the program, you can talk to me after. And that's my contact. So, do you guys have any questions? All right. If you want to speak to me after, I'll be over there, take a card. I have an actual checklist to see where your cortisol levels are at based on your symptoms, if you're curious, and give you suggestions on how you can start doing that today. All right. Thanks for coming out, everybody.